Whoop, 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 whoop. You noticed that too?
Yeah, you saw that?
Yeah, we've got shirts. Anyway, hi nerds! It's your week in Nerdom. We're back to a regularly scheduled program. This week we have video game news, movie news, TV news. We're kind of making up for lost time. We have Justice League news for the movies. We have more Justice League news for the movies. We have Batman movie news. We have The Tick, Season 1, Part 2. All kinds of stuff in television. Mortal Kombat, well, technically it's Injustice, but you know, all of the things. And a little bit of music news thrown in there, some Phil Anselmo news, because everyone loves Pantera, so the sideshow that is Phil Anselmo, we just can't look away from. I forgot my hat.
Generally nerdy.
Oh, what's going on, guys? So much is going on. News about the channel before we get to the news about the news. I just got back from Montana, so there's not going to be a whole lot of stuff from that trip because it was training for my job, and I didn't really get to go shooting like I wanted to. So, sadly, I'll put some stuff up. There is a little bit of footage, but not a whole lot, so don't hold your breath. Yeah, stuff is just happening. Missed Rocky Mountain Con, unfortunately, because I had to go to Montana. And normally Rocky Mountain Con's in November, and this year they put it in October, and I don't know why, but such is life. I'm getting a lot of really crazy updates from New York Comic Con. We'll get to that when we get to movies and things. That is about it for us. So without any more ado, we're going to hit up movies to start this week. Okay, so first, there have been a couple of really great releases for trailers. We have the Pacific Rim 2 Uprising trailer, which you simply must watch. There is the replicas, not replicants. We're not talking about freaking Blade Runner. We're talking about Keanu Reeves. Very interesting science fiction movie coming at the summer of next year, starring Keanu Reeves. I didn't know I wanted to see this thing. I didn't know what it was until I watched the preview, which is, you know, the purpose of trailers. So check it out. It's great. Keanu Reeves hasn't done a whole lot of sci-fi, but he is Neo. So this could be, and he as he gets older, he becomes a better actor, I feel like. So not only is he probably the nicest guy in Hollywood, but he gives you plenty of reason to watch his movies because every movie he gets slightly better. Continuing with Keanu Reeves movie news, he has officially announced that the script, it was announced previously they wanted to do a Bill and Ted 3, but like scheduling conflicts and all these things, and it just didn't really happen that way. And now there's a script. They just have to shop it around. It just seems like nobody's interested in buying it for whatever reason, which is stupid because like we're in this really big nostalgia kick right now. Why wouldn't studios want to buy this? It's easy money. Like, I don't know. If everyone's on board to come back, man, it's got to be one of the coolest things to Keanu Reeves has announced since John Wick 2, which was also a whole lot of fun, even though not a whole lot in the way of depth. But anyway, birdwalking, we're moving on. Gambit is still a thing. I mean, we've talked about it before. We knew it wasn't going to go away, but it kind of did go away, and now it's back. Channing Tatum is still attached. We have the director of the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbean movies, Gore Verbinski, is trying to direct this movie. He's trying to make Gambit a thing. So between he and Tatum, it's likely going to happen. I'm going to put it out there. I'm putting money on 2019, probably early fall release, just because Fox isn't going to give a shit about this movie. And I mean, that could change, but as it stands right now, I'm saying early fall, maybe even late summer release of 2019. I'm going to give them the year to film it, and then the release date will be 2019. I'd be really surprised if that didn't happen. If it could potentially get pushed back to 2020. I don't know. I think 2019's money, though. They have one unannounced movie for 2019 too, so maybe they were holding that pocket open just in case. We spoke once before about the potential of a Mega Man movie that was adult themed, and that was weird. But now there is apparently a Sonic the Hedgehog movie in production. Not adult themed, though. Not something that you can't take kids to, I would imagine. It looks like a guy named Jeff Fowler, F-O-W-L-E-R, Fowler, is looking to direct. This will be his first movie. It's going to be a blend of CGI and live action. So still pretty interesting. A live action Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Picked up by Paramount Pictures, penned by Patrick Casey and Josh Miller. No release date yet, but they have a script and they have a direction. So I'm putting 2020 on that one if it's CGI. Moving into other animated movie news, we have a Batman anime in the works that it's coming from Warner Brothers Japan. It's called Batman Ninja, with a 2018 release. This is a New York Comic-Con announcement. Man, there's a lot of killer stuff coming out of New York Comic-Con. So if you're not keeping up on those updates, come on over to Generally Nerdy. I will keep you updated on all of the really awesome stuff coming from New York Comic-Con, like Batman Ninja. Set for, I'm going to read this straight from my notes, so pardon me if I'm not making eye contact with you, but it's set for 2018 release, following the Batman Gotham by Gaslight. So they're adapting the Gotham by Gaslight comic into a DC animated movie. And the director is Junpei. It's a Japanese name, so pardon my pronunciation. Junpei Mizusaki. And then the character design is the same guy that gave us Afro Samurai. So, but I don't think that there's going to be a whole lot of bad that's coming out of this. His name is Takashi Okazaki, and the writers are Kazuki Nakashima, Leo Chu, and Eric Garcia. one American sounding name. Or Latin language based sounding it. Anyway, 2018. It's not going to be voiced by Conroy, because it's anime. He's a ninja. No details on the story yet, so I really am not expecting anything bad to come of this, but that's all we have so far is the design, the director, and the date is 2018. So moving on into Justice League. Ben Affleck was quoted recently as saying that there's going to be a lighter sense about the Justice League movie than there has in previous DCEU movies, probably partially because previous DCEU movies suck. He's talking about how it's going to have a lighter tone, how there's going to be some humor in it. Well, you do have Barry Allen, so that's kind of a requirement. But I mean, Wonder Woman had a pretty great sense of humor about itself. Kinda, sorta saw that with Suicide Squad, even though that was probably one of the very, very few acceptable things about the Suicide Squad movie. So I mean, that's hopeful. At least they're not trying to stick with this, oh, we have to emulate what Christopher Nolan did. The feeling of Nolan's movies was so awesome. That's why it sold so many. No, that's not why it sold so many tickets. It sold so many tickets because it was a great movie, not because it was dark and gritty. It happened to be dark and gritty, so they're missing the point. And it seems like now they're on a good course for correction. I really still don't have great hopes for the Justice League movie. But, I mean, if they get Barry Allen right, if they don't make him a loner, like it appears they're going to from the previews, if they can give him a sense of humor, if they do give Aquaman some sort of gravitas, and they round out all of these characters, you get a decent what's what on Cyborg, on all of the Justice League, and then we get a decent villain in Steppenwolf, and all of these things have to line up in order for this to be a good movie. And then on top of it, you got to keep Zack Snyder the hell away from it. There is potential for it to be good. I'm just not holding my breath. In other Justice League movie-related news, there has been a toy released for the movie that has Superman in the black Kryptonian rejuvenation suit. So, if you didn't know he was going to be in the movie yet, now you kind of do. That's as good as a confirmation as you're ever going to really get in a Superman movie, or in any one of these comic book movies, let alone any one particular superhero. Back in the 90s, when they actually killed off Superman in the comic books, when he came back, when he was rejuvenated, he was wearing a black suit. The whole third act, maybe even second and third act of the Superman Lives movie that never happened, that Tim Burton was going to do with Nicolas Cage as Kal-El, that they were, watch the documentary from John Schnepp, and you'll see there's a lot of concept art with him in the black suit and the long hair. So maybe Cavill's going to grow his hair out. That would be interesting. So we knew Superman was going to be in it. Now it's as good as confirmed that he's going to be in it. There's no way he can't be in it. There's no way that when who is it? It's Alfred. There's no way that in that commercial, when, the camera is walking up in a first-person point of view kind of shot to Alfred, and he says, oh, it's you, well, are you going to help, or whatever it is he says. He is obviously talking to Superman. So, or you're late, I think might be what he said. Anyway, whatever he says, he's talking to Superman. Stupid. Anyway. And then the final bit of news for movies this week is Star Wars. Tomorrow, because I film these on Sunday, so tomorrow being Monday the 9th, Star Wars tickets go on sale. I'm going to repeat that. Monday, October 9th, your Star Wars tickets go on sale. Go get it, and then we can all discuss what happens after we see the movie. I mean, it's still 2 months out, but if you don't get your tickets now, you're probably not going to see it on the opening weekend. So definitely grab your tickets. I know I'm going to do everything I can to get my tickets tomorrow, which, if you're a patron, you'll probably have your tickets. You might have your tickets by the time this gets posted. If you are a non-patron, then this won't get posted until the weekend, and you better have your tickets by then, because I would be willing to bet it's going to take them a week, maybe 2 weeks to sell out. So definitely go get your tickets. And that is it for movies this week. We are moving right into comic books next. And we've got a couple of interesting things in comic book news. We have seen the release of The Drowned, so if you haven't picked it up yet, it's the one-off for the Evil Batman. Definitely go pick that one up. The Drowned is Batman and Aquaman in a female villain version, which I haven't read it yet because I am broke. But it's on my read list, so hopefully by next week I will have read it, and we will discuss it. So, no real Batman news. Surprise, surprise. Aside from, what we just covered. Storm, though, as in Marvel, as in one of the oldest female and African-American characters in the Marvel lineup, that Storm, controls the weather, was in the cartoon, has done all of these awesome things in the storylines, has even taught at the school, has taken over for Professor X, her and Wolverine when Professor X died, went missing, whatever. But she's never had her own series. Now, it seems like they might be course correcting on that. So one of the coolest freaking characters in the Marvel Universe is now potentially, this is another New York Comic-Con announcement, is now potentially going to have her own series. It comes from editor-in-chief at Marvel, Axel Alonso. He was being questioned at New York Comic-Con. In the Q&A, a fan asked for the possibility of a solo series for fan favorite Storm. His response was, yeah, it depends on our schedules, but let's put it this way. We have a specific interest. But is it happening? The person asked. And Alonso's response was, yeah. So it looks like they're trying to work in schedules. I don't know how this isn't a priority. Like, with the current trend of pushing for diversity, it makes sense to maximize with the diverse cast you already have. And I feel like Storm has been so overlooked over the years that this is a long time coming. So scheduling apparently needs to be figured out, according to Alonso. And it is in the pipeline, though. It is going to happen, according to their editor-in-chief. And I don't know why he would say something that's not actually going to happen. Doesn't make sense to me, but you never know. There could be something that happens that throws it all off, but we'll see. And then my other bit of comic book news, because my research for this week got a little cut short. It didn't get all the comic books I was looking for, but Neil Gaiman, and this is only here in comic book news because I didn't know where else to put it. Neil Gaiman, but it's cool enough to be newsworthy. Neil Gaiman has a beetle named after him now. Scientists, I'm reading from my notes again. Scientists discovered new species of ground beetle, Carabidae, and named it after the author and comic book writer Neil Gaiman. A paper, the proper name for the beetle is I'm horrible with Latin. Pterosticus gaimani. Pterosticus gaimani, which fits under the subgenus Aphanus reader. The new species is said to be so rare that only 2 specimens were found inside a sacred grove just outside the village of Kevsha, Georgia, within the Caucasus region of Eurasia. So, yeah, really cool. Neil Gaiman has a beetle named after him. Whatever. Moving now into music. Not a whole lot of really cool, interesting stuff happening right now, but there's a couple of things. Something that I thought was kind of noteworthy because, I'm a passive fan of Stone Temple Pilots. They've just had horrible luck with vocalists, albeit ex-vocalists, because both of their vocalists that they've had in the last 5-8 years, whatever, have died, but after they were already no longer officially part of the band. So with Chester Bennington's recent passing, they are looking for a new vocalist, so hopefully they can find somebody who is A, not addicted to crazy drugs, and B, not secretly super depressed. I don't know, I'm really interested to see what happens with new Stone Temple Pilots, should they find a new vocalist. Time will tell, we'll see, could be fun. And then Phil Anselmo, Captain Pantera himself. Phil Anselmo, that guy, used to play with Dimebag and Vinnie Paul. And Rex Brown. Can't forget Rex Brown. Anyway, Phil Anselmo starting another project. The man that is in 5,000 bands already is starting another project. But the reason this one's different is it's not really a metal project. Everything he does, even his housecore record label, basically only signs metal acts. So this is a project, it's called N minor, E-N minor. It's called N minor, and it's inspired by The Cure and Scissor Sisters. Phil Anselmo was inspired by The Cure. Yeah, it's like an episode of Jerry Springer. I don't know why I want to watch it, but damn, do I want to listen to that album. He has finished the first full-length album for the band. It will be releasing early 2018. That was as good of a release date as I got. But it's coming out in early 2018. So I'm going to say somewhere between January and March. I don't even know what to think about that. That's Phil Anselmo doing an album inspired by The Cure and the Scissor Sisters. Weird. And last bit of news for music this week. For all of you Opeth fans, I'm sorry because I don't know how to pronounce Mikhail. I don't know how to pronounce his name. So lead singer and all around everything guy for Opeth, Mikhail Ackerfeld, I'm gonna say, is already talking about a new album. They just put out an album it was right about a year ago, and he's already, that's in the past. I want to move into this new album, and I'm going to make it twisted. What? So everything they've done since Watershed has been kind of like 70s prog throwback kind of sound, which would make sense because a title like Watershed implies that you're going in a different direction. Now, the way he's talking about this new material that he's looking to write, the new stuff, makes it sound like maybe he might be making another heavy record. I don't know. Twisted could mean a lot of things. But he wants to get it done and released by mid-2019. So he's got a year. He says he's going to take... Opeth is going to take some time off because they've been touring for so long, which I saw him on the last time through the States, and first time seeing Opeth, it was great. They played a lot of their old heavy stuff. They played some of the newer stuff, which is still fantastic musically speaking. Just not really my cup of tea in general, but still, it was a great show for a band that kind of just stands around and definitely got blown out of the water by Gojira, who opened the show. It was great. So if he's going back into writing heavy stuff, I feel like I'm definitely on board for that. Because I was on board for the weird proggy stuff too. So anyway, that's it for music. We are moving very quickly into video games. Okay, so video game news, real quick and brief. Next week I promise I will have at least 5 updates in the video game world, because there was a lot of stuff I saw. My research time got cut really short. So the one thing we're going to touch on is Raiden and Black Lightning have been released for Injustice 2. They were released on the 6th, so if you don't have them yet, definitely go get them and work them out, and get some new clothes on Raiden, man. I don't know. I feel like he's got this gay superhero vibe going on that just doesn't fit the character. Not that there can't be a gay superhero. It's just Raiden's not a gay superhero, so why would he dress like a gay superhero? Anyway, I'm really stoked. I haven't downloaded them yet. If you have, I'm going to let you guys tell me what it's like. Definitely hit up those comments down below and let's talk Raiden. Is it worth having him in the game? Because we already have one Mortal Kombat character. Are you one that thinks that you keep your chocolate out of my peanut butter, kinda? I don't need Mortal Kombat characters in my Injustice, and vice versa. I don't know. Let's talk about it in the comments down below. And finally, we are moving into television news. Final section of this week's Week in Nerdom. Television news. So, we've got a lot of things. I think the first thing is I'm going to do a couple of reactions to some of the newer shows that have come out. So, Star Trek Discovery. Weird start. It was pretty solid. I've only seen the first 2 episodes because they were the same. You know, you get the teaser bit, right? So I've only seen those. I haven't ventured into episode 3 just yet. It is out. I'm going to get my hands on it. Just haven't watched it yet. So this is a prequel series to the Kirk era Star Trek. So not even next gen. And it's difficult to do a prequel to something so old. Like when Star Wars did the prequel trilogy. And even with the updated versions of the Holy Trilogy, like there's still a couple elements that kind of take you out and go, wait a minute, that looks a lot slicker in the time that's supposed to be before than it does in the original. So it's a little disorienting in that way, but that's relatively easy to get over, because Gene Roddenberry did a really good job with his original series in that it makes it easier to do a prequel to it. So that being said, the other thing that really takes you out of it are the Klingons. I mean, there is a point in Next Gen where Worf is talking, or no, not Next Gen, I think it was Deep Space Nine, where Worf is talking about a troubled time in Klingon history. And so this is apparently maybe got something to do with that, and maybe whatever happens that resolves this troubled time changes the look of the whole species. I don't know. I got nothing. But it removes you. The whole time you're looking going, I mean, they look good. The makeup looks great. It looks crazy expensive for a television show. Especially a television show that is direct streaming only, except for the first 2 episodes. So, like, very weird kind of thing, and you're the whole time going, those don't look like Klingons. They look like a different species that happens to be speaking Klingon. They look like a similar species, but they're not, it's just not the same. I don't know, it's very weird. I feel like it's just not gonna, it's one of the most popular series in television history, and this is like just gonna put the nail in the coffin. After, what was it, Enterprise, I feel like was the last actual series on TV, which was over a decade ago, and it had Scott Bakula as the captain, and it was very low budget, even by Star Wars standards, which, I mean, again, the 70s series with Kirk just was pretty low budget, but they got away with it, because that was the way of television at the time. Anyway, this is real shiny. This, and I'm going to try and get the interview up soon. I did interview Walter Koenig, from the original Star Trek at Starfest a few months back, and I haven't put up the interview yet, but I'm going to, because there's a relevant point that he makes in this interview, is that Star Trek of today is looking to entice he calls them the Fast and the Furious watchers, and I feel like that's kind of what they're going for with this. I don't get a lot of sense of depth to this world that they're creating. And it makes it really difficult, because the first 2 episodes start on a ship that we know we're not going to be on for the rest of the season. And therefore, also, this crew that we're meeting, save for the Michael, what's-her-toes from Walking Dead. The character's name is Michael, but I can't think of her name. I'm so sorry. But she's the focus, right? She is the protagonist, effectively, that we're going to be following through this series. And Discovery, you can only assume is the name of the ship that she is likely to captain and I mean, she's even the narrator. It comes in with first officer's log. It's not even captain's log. It's first officer's log. So she is Shaniqua Martin Green. Yeah, I think that's her. Anyway, we're following her, so we know A, she's likely going to become a captain. B, this isn't her ship. C, all of these crew members, save for maybe a couple, are not going to follow her. So, like, immediately you're going, I shouldn't get used to this crew, and by extension, your mind goes, well, then I shouldn't get used to this show. So I don't know. It's a decent start. It's just it's very rocky ground that they're starting on. Solid rocks, but it's rocky. There is definitely a way they can pull it out and make it a great series. And Shaniqua Martin Green. There's definitely a way they can pull it out and make it a great series. Will they do that? Only time will tell. Let's watch episode 3 and then discuss it right there in the comments section. If you liked this, for these first 2 episodes, this teaser bit that we got, let's talk about that in the comments too, because I kinda dug it. I kinda didn't too, for reasons mentioned before. Anyway, moving on to Inhumans. So I finally watched the pilot, and I watched the second episode, which aired just yesterday, day before, something like that. Man, boring. I haven't read Inhumans, so I don't have a comparison to make. But the first 2 episodes are borderline melodrama. This is some of the most boring comic book television I have seen, and that's only because I haven't watched Iron Fist. I don't know if I'm ever going to watch Iron Fist, because I have not heard anything good about it. But Inhumans, man, like, they made such a big stink about it. They got dude from Game of Thrones in there, and, like, so what? He might have been an alright actor as Ramsay Bolton, but in this, as the only human in the world of the Inhumans, which again was a little weird and disorienting, but still able to take out all of the other Inhumans with help of, like, whatever. Just melodrama. And it's not melodrama on purpose, because, like, purposeful melodrama is funny, because that's the point. But this is just overacting and bad direction, and, like, trying to watch it even for a technical, like, well, is the cinematography good? No! That's boring. There's so little redemption in this show that I don't even know if I'm going to continue watching it. I might. Alright, so, to be fair, I'll probably watch the entirety of the first season. Supernatural didn't get great until after season 3. Walking Dead definitely was really slow in the first 2 seasons, and those are some of my favorite shows. So, yes, I am going to give it at least the first season, possibly first 2 seasons, maybe just a season and a half. But these first 2 episodes are not helping. This is, so far, not a very good show. Only for the diehard comic book fan, only probably even for the diehard comic book fan who hasn't read Inhumans, and doesn't really look at entertainment value in a technical element, in technical light either. Oh, yeah. Ouch. But other new shows, Gifted. Alright, so this is another one that I'm a little confused on, and maybe you guys can help me in those comments down below. But Gifted doesn't have a comic book, even though it has at the beginning of the credits, it says based on characters created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. I was under the impression that there's not a comic book currently. Maybe it is just currently. Maybe it existed as a comic book forever ago, and then it's one of the ones that just kind of has fallen by the wayside and is nobody's writing it right now. I don't know. Please inform me down below about the comic book origins of Gifted. But episode 1, we were supposed to watch. So this was your homework from last week, right? The first 6 minutes were released as of last week when I made the short video. And then apparently it just freaking aired. I thought it was supposed to air next week. I just had all of my dates wrong. So instead of talking about those first 6 minutes, we're going to talk about the first whole episode. Vampire Bill in Gifted is... I dig him, man. I dug this whole this whole episode. This is a better, more solid start than Inhumans could ever hope to have been. We get invested in these main characters. We get invested in the fact that these two kids, spoiler alert, that these two kids were hiding the fact from their parents that they are mutants. It's also on Fox, so we can say the word mutants. And it plays its cards so well. I feel like this is Fox Marvel making up for a lot of mediocre stuff that they've done in cinema recently. The introduction of the mutants that are not part of the family, like we get involved. There is even technical elements of this that you're going, wow, this cinematography is really well done. This direction is really well done. There are a couple of really kind of iffy spots in the special effects, but it's television, so you kind of let that go. I feel like Gifted is definitely one that's going to stick around for a few seasons, assuming Fox doesn't go all Fox on it and cancel it after season 2, even though it gets really great ratings. Hi, Family Guy. Anyway, Gifted, yes. Inhumans, please. Locke and Key. We've talked Locke and Key already a couple of times, casting stuff. So just to update everyone, I'm reading this from the notes. So far cast, we have from The Conjuring 2, actress Frances O'Connor is going to be Nina Locke, so mother in Locke and Key. Jackson Robert Scott from It is going to be Bodhi Locke. Megan Carpentier, I'm assuming, is also from It, and she's going to be Kinsey Locke. And then Nate Cordry from The Circle is going to be Duncan Locke. And then the director for the pilot is going to be Andy Muschietti, who also is from It. He directed It. He's going to be the director for the pilot. So, what's new? Danny Glover. Danny Glover's a good actor. I mean, he's not the best by any means necessarily, but Danny Glover will play Joe Ridgway from Locke and Key. I haven't read Locke and Key yet. My girlfriend loves Locke and Key. I'm going to steal her books and read them before this starts airing, so we can start making comparisons and all this stuff. So the other casting announcement is Jack Mulhern is going to play Tyler Locke as he's a co-lead. So he and Nina Frances O'Connor, I think, are the two leads, if I know enough about Locke and Key. So moving forward, man, they've got basically their whole cast now, so I'm really looking forward to this show. Moving into just a random thing that I didn't know, and in the research for this week I found out. There was going to be, on Fox, there was going to be a Hellfire Club series that Fox turned down. That's a interesting, like, A, that they would want to make the Hellfire Club into a series, and B, that they found a way to do it because it's an interesting group of characters. There's an interesting story there. Just how would you translate that to television? But then Fox turned it down once they figured out how to translate that into television, and it's like, that could potentially, I mean, whatever, I don't know. But so yeah, there was going to be a Hellfire Club television show, and now it's not going to happen. Partially because The Gifted happened, and some of the creative team that was trying to push the Hellfire Club onto television is now working for Gifted. So anyway, things connecting. Stranger Things. We talked Stranger Things a couple weeks ago. We were talking about how they wanted to do 4 seasons and then just call it. That's not gonna happen. So executive producer Sean Levi wanted to go more than 4 seasons. wants to go more than 4 seasons. Matter of fact, told Entertainment Weekly they are going more than 4 seasons. So the Duffer Brothers want to tell a cohesive story. They want to have a beginning and an end and not wear out their welcome. Producer Levy, whatever, apparently just wants to let it go. No, but the Duffers are going to complete the story. They're not just going to keep going and looking for stuff to talk about. They have in mind how it's going to end already. Like Game of Thrones, they know the ending already, so they're just working to the end. And if it takes them 5 seasons, if it takes them 6 seasons, then so be it. Apparently, the production team, the producers, specifically Sean Levy, are pushing to have more rather than less. So we'll see what happens, but it sounds like we're going to get more than 4 seasons of Stranger Things. Season 2 comes out the end of this month, so definitely keep your eyes on your Netflix account for that. The Tick! Oh, I almost forgot The Tick! Why would I do that? Spoon! The Tick! Season 1, Part 2. So the other 4 episodes of Season 1 are coming. February 23rd is the release date on Amazon for the other 4 episodes of The Tick. When that happens, we'll have a Tick episode. I don't care how much time it takes me to make it. We're gonna have a Tick episode because so far this is so good. There's so much more depth to this show that makes sense and is still really funny and still totally lampooning comic book hero shows and things. And yeah, so The Tick, February 23rd of 2018. And yeah, so the final thing that we're talking about on this week's Week in Nerdom is Gotham. It's official. I have to start watching Gotham again. What? Gotham, really? I have to watch Gotham. Butch, the mob guy from Gotham that's been in since season 1. Butch Gilzian? Apparently, it was revealed that his real name is Cyrus Gold. Now, let's let that one sit in for a second. Cyrus Gold, a.k.a. Solomon Grundy. So, Solomon Grundy's going to be in Season 5. I think they said, like, Episode 3 is where he officially gets revealed. Oh, my lord. I have to start watching Gotham again. I really dig... So, Solomon Grundy, when they did the Forever Evil series and they had the one-offs of all the villains, I only grabbed a few of them because I'm only really into a few of those villains, and, like, Joker's daughter, because I had never seen Joker's daughter before, and I dig her-ish. She's no Joker substitute, but... it works, kind of, because she has the whole mysterious past thing going. And anyway, Solomon Grundy was one of those that I grabbed because Solomon Grundy's a really interesting character. He's a freaking zombie for all intents and purposes. So Solomon Grundy, big bad zombie guy, is going to be in Gotham. Man, so here's my theory. They were getting a lot of flack from hardcore Batman fans. They were getting, I don't know this for certain, this is all theoretical. They were getting a lot of just grief for not doing a very good job with the Batman characters. So they were like, well, we're gonna have the full-fledged versions. They're doing Scarecrow. Bruce is now wearing a suit as a child without any training. Because that has happened ever. They're doing all these weird things. They had almost a proper origin story for the Joker, which and potentially that's all of that's still probably going on in the show, because I think the kid that they had as the Joker is still there, like with his face all cut up and stuff. So I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. But Solomon Grundy is a really interesting... I want to see how they do it. I'll at least catch up to the point where they introduce Solomon Grundy, and if they're still doing horrible things to the show, then I'm not going to continue watching it, but I have to play catch-up. Anyway, thank you very much for watching all the way to the end of this week's episode. I did as best as I could to catch us all up. There are still a couple of holes. There's comic book stuff we got to talk about. There's video game stuff we got to talk about. I didn't get through all of the research. I'm sorry. But we'll get there next week. So, thank you for watching. Definitely remember to check out the website, generallynerdy.net. It's right there. Go check it out. GenerallyNerdy.net is the website. Patreon.com/GenerallyNerdy is the Patreon. Go over and support me. If you like what I'm doing here, definitely hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. And always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.